Yeah, what up, yo? This is Branch Dean of the Cool Zone at Avenue Cool Music. Thanks so much for being here with me. A special thanks to all of the new subscribers that have come aboard here in the Cool Zone at Avenue Cool Music. I really appreciate you being here as well. Also, I'd like to send a special thanks to those of you that have visited me at Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and those other music streaming services over the past few weeks. I really appreciate you visiting me there and helping to give my original music some exposure. Thank you so much. Well, it has begun. The 80s R&B Queens tribute is underway. And we've gotten through the first 2 weeks, the first two songs of Anita Baker with some delay. And the reason for the delay to the Anita Baker portion of the 80s R&B Queens tribute, I'll explain to you the reason for that when I talk about the two bass lines that we played here. But first, I want to talk about Anita Baker's vocals, man. Having spent the last few weeks listening to her music, I have to say, as we all know, she's a phenomenal vocalist. She really is. And I really don't know, I can't find one word to describe her music, or one phrase rather. Whereas with Aretha Franklin has been promoted as being, her music stylings, her vocal stylings has been promoted as being soulful, which is very applicable, I believe. With Anita Baker, her music has a certain type of feeling to it. Like it has a familiar vibe and a familiar feeling to it that I think that everyone can relate to, which is one of the reasons why people enjoy her music so much, because of her vocal styling, her voice, her voice tone, and she's very precise in her vocal stylings. To my ear, very phenomenal. I really have enjoyed working on those songs, and I wish that I had time to do an entire tribute to Anita Baker, but I can't right now because we're at the beginning of the 80s R&B Queens tribute. Now I want to talk about the bass line, both of the bass lines that caused the delay. Now, I spent the song Sweet Love, I spent more time on the song Sweet Love than I spent on the song Caught Up in the Rapture. Because the song Sweet Love, there's a whole lot going on from here, from the F note all the way down here, man. I'm playing all over the neck. So I spent more time on the song Sweet Love. And then when it came time for me to record the video, I realized that I made a mistake that I had to correct. Otherwise, I can't play the song. And the mistake was the interval from the B flat on the A string to the G flat on the E string. This is the way that it's played. If you don't play that interval as it's written, you're going to throw the entire song off, because you go from here, right? That's a beautiful transition in that song. But what I was doing was, and then I was doing, and after I was done playing, I heard the G flat was still ringing on the song, and I had already played it. I was like, oh, I cannot do that. That's not going to work. I have to do. And that's because that song has so much feel, such a great feeling and vibe to it. You have to play it precisely. You have to, I know, well, when she's in concert, I've seen her videos when she's in concert, they don't play it note for note as it's played in the studio with Freddie Washington, the bassist that wrote that bass line and performed it. But you can get away with that in a live performance, I guess. But when you're playing, I'm not saying that they didn't do that in a live performance. It's just they don't play every note in a live performance. A lot of groups don't do that, But nevertheless, just that interval right there is so beautiful, And then with the song Caught Up in the Rapture, this song is built on 3 patterns. This is the first pattern. And then there's 2, and then there's one more pattern, and then there's the hook. So basically this song is built on 2 patterns and a hook. So I was overconfident that I had that song. I can do this, man. I got this. Then I went to record the song, and it wasn't right. Something wasn't right. That's when I realized the thing that wasn't right. Even though that's a simple bass line, if simple is relative, I guess, but even though I consider that to be a simple bass line, I have to play it with feeling, man. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So I had to slow down and listen more so than I was listening, as opposed to just playing the patterns that I know. And the problem that I had with that song, not that there's anything wrong with the song, that's a 5-time platinum song, but I wasn't hearing the kick drum as much as I was hearing the snare and the hi-hat. And bassists, what we do in keeping time, we often lock in on the drummer. We often lock in on the snare, the hi-hat, and the kick drum. I wasn't hearing the kick drum as much. So what I did, I started doing a lot of my timing basically on keeping time with my foot. And Anita Baker's vocals, man. You know, in order to duplicate as best I could the feeling that's contained within that song. Listen to that song. I guarantee you can put that song on, caught up in the rapture, and you can just drift away because that song, there's such a powerful feeling to it. And I think Anita Baker, her songs, I don't know whether it's just something innate in her that she developed somewhere along the way, something that's just natural to her vocal qualities. She knows how to sing with feeling and preciseness. So Anita Baker, thumbs up to Anita Baker, our first 80s R&B queen to be honored during the 80s R&B Queens tribute. Next up, it's going to be Aretha Franklin. We're going to be doing, I've already begun working on the first bass line, and I'm going to introduce you to the bassist that played the bass on the bass line on the first song that I'm going to present for Aretha Franklin 80s R&B Queens tribute. And this bassist, you know this guy. Yeah, you know this guy really well, but you may not realize how prominent of a bassist he has been throughout the days, so throughout the years rather. So yeah, we're going to be moving on to Aretha Franklin next in the 80s R&B Queens tribute. So hey, look, until next time, be blessed.